and blessed is she who believed that there would be a fulfillment of what was spoken to her by the Lord. Please be seated. Once upon a time, not so long ago. Well, all of the good stories start out that way. Well, this one starts out about Tommy. Tommy used to work on the docks, but now the union's been on strike, and Tommy's down on his luck. Oh, it's tough. So tough. But our story doesn't end there. Oh no, because there's also Gina. Gina works the diner all day, working for her man, yes, Tommy, her man. She brings home her pay. For love. For love. But Gina has a good head on her shoulders, because Gina says, we've got to hold on to what we've got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We've got each other, and that's a lot. For love, we'll give it a shot. That's right, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer. No one got out a lighter and waved it. That was unfortunate. But from the chuckles and the head nods, I take it there's a few Bon Jovi fans here with us today. For of course, that was the beginning of the great 80s rock anthem, Livin' on a Prayer. It's a realistic song about a couple, Tommy and Gina, who are down on their luck, but also hopeful that all of their hard work and, of course, their love for each other will see them through to better times. And like most of us, Tommy and Gina are waiting for something that they hoped would someday come into their lives, that their hard work and their love for each other would ultimately pay off in a life where they're not so down on their luck. But at this point, they're living on a prayer, which isn't always the most sure or hopeful way that one can live, if by living on a prayer we mean a wish and a wing. But they were waiting, living on a prayer and waiting. And here we are today, with Advent almost over, but we are still waiting as well. We may have very different foundations and hopes and wishes and wings than Tommy and Gina, or maybe we don't, but we are waiting nonetheless. All of us individually are waiting for something in our lives. We are all looking forward to something to happen. Maybe some of us are waiting on starting a new job very soon. No matter how big or how small, there is in our lives something that hasn't quite arrived yet. Maybe it's that pesky package that we are hoping to give as a gift on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, or maybe at this point, the day after Christmas. Whatever it is, that thing we are waiting upon might be a long way off. It might be just around the corner. But we know that life is made up of waiting. Tick, tock, waiting. Have you ever waited for something that you already have? Now, I know that sounds like a ridiculous question. Of course, we don't wait for things that we already have. We wait for things that we do not have yet. You wouldn't stand at your post box, I assume, waiting for that package that has already arrived. The postman would formulate some very unflattering opinions about you if you did. And you wouldn't stand at a bus stop and tell the bus driver a few moments after he's pulled up and he's sitting there looking at you, you wouldn't say, I'm waiting on the bus. We don't wait for things that we already have. But then again, we do. We as Christians during this season of Advent, and probably every day in our lives as well, we wait for something that we already have. We wait to celebrate the birth of God incarnate in our flesh, but we already have that gift. It was given 2,000 years ago. It is given today as it was yesterday and will be tomorrow. But we still take the time to wait all over again in order to celebrate all over again. We take the time to wait for what we already have. We wait for Christ to come into our lives anew in fresh ways and in ways familiar to us. We wait for the Christ that we already have to enter our lives all over again and again. We wait for what we already have. We look forward to receiving all over again what God has already given to us. And we wait for the Christ to return on clouds descending in great glory with the ultimate salvation promised to this world, with the ultimate freedom that we already have. We wait once again for what God has already given us. It's a little bit like Mary, pregnant with her first son, the incarnate God in our flesh, waiting to give birth to him. She, like every pregnant mother, already has what she is waiting for. And Mary gives us such a wonderful waiting example to follow. For she was waiting because of her willingness to live on a hope, on a prayer, and maybe most importantly, to live with a promise. And so we too live and wait with hope on a promise. For we have what God wants to give us in his Son. We have what Christ came to accomplish in our flesh. We have it. But that doesn't mean that there isn't still some waiting to do, and indeed working to do as well. We are challenged every day in our waiting to live out what we already have. We are called to love one another, to follow Christ, to be Christ to each other and to this world. And we can be so bold and brave to live that calling out because we already have Christ within us and with us. We are not called to achieve a goal in order to win a prize. We are called to live out what we have already been given, gifted, graced to us by God. We have the prize. The goal has been reached on our behalf. And so in our waiting, we can be Christ to and for each other because we already have the promised Christ within us. And so in our waiting, we hold on to what we got, the gift of the Christ child. We know we will make it because we've got what we want. We've got the Christ, and that's a lot. For love, God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son. And we are blessed to wait for what we already have. It sounds ridiculous, but this is the best kind of waiting we can do. It is the one and only way we can wait for the sure confidence that we already have what we are waiting for. And maybe this Christ-given waiting can help us with all of the other waiting that we do in our lives. So, let's hold on and give it a shot. We are more than halfway there, and we've already got what we are waiting and hoping for. That's how God wants us to wait, with the gift, the Christ child who comes to free us and forgive us, already given, the gift already received. Amen.